One order of spicy noodles coming up. Here you go, doll.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to this year's very merry Director's Commentary.
I've been looking forward to this.
This is a holiday edition of the Transmute Pictures Director's Commentary. We've done one of these prior for one of our earlier releases for Bucketheads.
Not to be mistaken for a holiday special.
That's better.
Not to be mistaken for a holiday special. And we're back this year to give you guys another one. But first, we wanted to say a few things. So first off, it must be acknowledged, this project only happens with the support of all of our awesome patrons. So a massive thank you to you, ladies and gentlemen, for helping support this really cool Star Wars fan film. It gives all of us a lot of fun and joy to be doing this for you guys, and we really think this is a worthwhile storytelling. So thank you for being a part of this journey and allowing us to tell that story for you.
You are strong and wise, Anakin, and I am very proud of you.
And it's not just the patrons, it's also the over 150 cast and crew at this point that have been sticking for us for well over a year, 2 years. It's hard to draw the line where we started.
It's been many years, yeah.
It's been far too long, Master Kenobi.
So thanks everybody for just being a part of this journey and enjoying what you're seeing, leaving us comments. We love reading those kinds of things, and we certainly hope to continue putting this out for you guys as much as possible, as fast as possible.
Exactly, and at this point we'd be
I hate it when he does that.
we haven't exactly been putting out a lot of content lately, and Bucketheads is just taking a little bit longer than all of us would like.
Yeah, so we've talked about it before, but there's the triangle that we sort of must adhere to 2 of the 3 points. You never get all 3. It's either going to be good, fast, or cheap. And we've gone with good and cheap.
The negotiations were short.
Which means fast sometimes gets a little bit sacrificed along the way. We don't want to release something to you guys that you end up watching and going, wow, did I really wait all this time for that?
We're on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
That's sort of our worst nightmare. So we'll spend the time that it takes to make this good, and we just thank you guys for being a part of that journey and having some faith in us that we're going to deliver you guys a really fun film.
But you must be anxious to inspect the units for yourself.
That's why I'm here.
Beyond just faith, we also want to update you on what we've been working on since we released the first chapter, the prologue of Endor, back in May of 2021. We've been shooting chapter 2, which takes us away from Endor into much darker places. One of them we're in right now.
Seedy underbelly of Coruscant.
Ever made your way as far into the interior as Coruscant?
As you guys can see, we've spent a lot of time building some really amazing sets alongside our crew. We've been dreaming up a virtual production aspect to this next shooting block that we're pushing hard to get done. This would be the final shooting block for chapter 2. So the end is well within sight for us to release the next piece to you guys. We sort of just have the final push to go.
You underestimate my power!
It's been really exciting, especially working with the virtual production things. I know we put out some BTS and stuff on that, but that continues to get better and better. Another very fun shoot that we had recently was a miniature shoot.
Yeah, especially The Mandalorian and the Razor Crest was a huge inspiration to us. We had our team design our own spaceship as well. A model has been built, and we finally done exactly what ILM did with the Razor Crest, so cannot wait to show you the result of that.
Impressive, you must be very proud.
As a final little update, we also have a trailer, or it's a teaser really. We're going to release a trailer for chapter 2 as well, but we've got sort of a teaser we've been working on that should come out shortly in the new year. Honestly, we probably put a bit too much of a workload on our VFX people, and so we're giving them some time to catch up, and shortly in the new year we'll have a really cool teaser for you guys.
This is where the fun begins.
As we have said, this is a very merry director's commentary. And I think it's time to jump into this. So without further ado, in the seedy underbelly of Coruscant, let's review where Bucketheads has been and how we did it.
Please do not resist.
And play.
Oh, that's not quite right.
And play.
Technical issues and all. The Twin Sun Film Foundation, created specifically because we do Bucketheads. Very Star Wars to have something jump into frame, a big capital ship.
Have to start in space, and it was very important for us this time to create an opening sequence that would blow everything else we've done so far out of the water, and I'm happy to report that we've succeeded.
Yes, I feel the same way. And as you're about to see here, this is a cool blend, I think, of visual effects with practical. All the cockpit interiors are practical. We really built this. We had some amazing design done by a number of team members, Terry Chewy, Caleb Friesen, Sean Major, David Black did a lot of the set wearing, I believe. And I think we should mention too the lighting as well inside the cockpit is this exact animated sequence playing back over 3 LED screens at different points. So all the lighting that is occurring inside the cockpit there is just the animation of this TIE fighter playing. Same thing with the explosion, all that.
It really elevates all of the cockpit shots and makes them seem so much more real, because suddenly you have this reactive and interactive lighting that just works so well with reflective surfaces like TIE pilots, for example.
And I also want to say too, we got a lot of the great movement out of that shot with our operator Scott Nuttall on a, oh geez, I'm losing the name for it, but it's basically a piece that sits on a dolly, so the Steadicam can sit on that. So this is actually a Steadicam with a static sort of set, I guess, being built, and the camera is doing all of the moves for the TIE fighter.
Yeah, you can really see it when the TIE fighter is banking hard and the camera sort of goes with it. That makes it really seem much more intense compared to a static frame.
Because when you're a low budget, no budget film, you move the camera, not the set.
Crazy how that works.
Yeah. Obviously, It's Got Stealth came back for us. Amazing title sequence. I mean, I loved the original short film title sequence. Personally, I think they blew it out of the water. That was a really good one, cool concept. I love this one.
It tells a story. If you watch carefully, you will find a lot of hints of where season 1 is going to go.
And I believe they modeled this after a 90s playset. I don't know if it's like a style of playset or that was an actual brand or something, but it was called Micro Machines. And I kind of remember them as well. That was part of the design phase of this whole thing unfolding. But you kind of get that plasticky texturing feeling out of a lot of these, a lot of this imagery, and that's because that's what they modeled it after. This was something we both felt very strongly about. Starting with something big in space, it's Endor. Everybody knows what happens on Endor, so you have to have also the Death Star there to showcase, you know, what planet is this, what battle is this. But then to come down on a big ground fight as well. We wanted to come down into a chaotic fight, as chaotic as that space combat is.
Look at that bunker.
Oh,
yeah,
you guys,
quite,
how'd you
quite
get that
something.
look like it's inside a thing? You've got a backhoe in there or something?
So we had an amazing production designer come out and design this whole area, cleared out the ground. The forest didn't naturally look like this, actually.
What?
Yeah, the forest was designed.
There's a lot of production design in this.
Thank you, Headmaster Chef. That's our Headmaster Chef from our favorite noodle bar, CD Underbellies. This was an incredibly fun oneer to figure out. A ton of coordination, a ton of design, making this area workable for this big run that our TK takes here. It was our one of our stunt coordinators, Chad Riley. I think we had about, I don't even know, 8 to 10 stormtroopers. There was like 8 or so.
It was at least 12.
12 stormtroopers. Yeah. There was like 8 or so rebels. We had Zergs going off, which are little paintballs filled with dust and sparking material. I think we had an air cannon. We had flash powder. Like it was a big oneer.
And this stunt is called the Dead Man Pole.
Dead Man Drop, Dead Man Pole, one of the two.
Or just a Dead Man, essentially.
Dead Man.
Our stunt guy here in his stormtrooper armor is connected to a rope that's tied up to a tree. He runs as hard as he can, and when the rope runs out, he just gets ripped back. And I hear it's supremely, I don't want to say painful, but it probably is.
So we did one take of that.
He nailed it.
As you can see. This was, again, just a super fun fight to film and to create and to think through. I think Marco and I did a healthy amount of previs and coming up with frames and just figuring out how this was going to go. And I think honestly we threw away a lot of that on the day in favor of just finding chaotic moments and chaotic shots and kind of stitching together what that battle was going to feel like.
It was a lot of one of us grabbing the camera and just going like, oh, over here, and just grabbing that one rebel shooting or that one stormtrooper doing whatever he's doing.
The overheads, I think, help tie this together a lot too. The two overhead drone shots right before the guy throws the grenade or the thermal imploder, and then also when Torin is running, when he does his run. I think those add a lot of intensity to the whole thing.
Here's a fun story about how we met these rebels. We were at Panther, our location just to previous. There happened to be a group of stuntmen at the time, just, I don't even know, practicing whatever they were working on at the time.
They were working with another individual named
Matt Campbell.
Yes.
They were doing like an airsoft thing, who also, slight segue, we have to thank
Matt Campbell.
one of the only reasons this shoot ever happened in the first place, because he rescued us from getting a bobcat stuck in a river for about 6 hours, and that's the only reason we could make this area.
Bobcats are very expensive. Anyway, we just happened to bump into this group of stunt guys, and they were curious what we were doing, so we told them, and they were like, that sounds amazing. Can we be in this? We're like, no, funny you would ask. We do need a bunch of rebels that do stunts. And then one thing led to another, and boom, rebels.
Boom, we had a Rebels. Yeah, I'm very stoked for that. Griffin Rebels.
Oh yeah, Griffin. We have to keep Star Wars PG-13.
Yeah.
We can't say bad words.
Yeah.
So there are a number of Star Wars universe approved swears, and Criff is one of them. The other one, Kark, we used in the OG Bucketheads.
K-A-R-K.
It sounds very similar to a different word that is used on Earth that is not PG-13 anymore, so we didn't use it for the series anymore.
We also should mention, as I don't think many people have caught this yet, I know someone that I showed an early version of this did catch it, but this whole thing was filmed in the exact same spot at Panther Paintball.
No, really?
That's
crazy.
That we filmed
I
the original
never would have
short film.
guessed that.
So if you saw that, good on you. A lot of people don't seem to have caught it, which means we did our job correctly. But yeah, when you find a good spot like that, you don't give it up easily.
Panther Paintball, we love you.
Panther Paintball.
What did I say? Panther?
Panther.
Panther Paintball.
A couple of notes from John Woo, legendary action director John Woo here.
Big heroic death.
Big heroic death. Had a ton of fun doing that as well with the blend of practical and physical again. Those were real Zergs hitting him in the chest plate, real sparks coming out. They were touched up digitally, but there was real ones as well. And then we obviously used some VFX to further sell the hits with all the blacking on the armor and stuff. Yeah, we had almost an argument.
Dish? What is this one called? Deflected dish?
Some kind of dish. We had almost an argument. You said it wouldn't be recognizable Endor unless we had this B-roll cutaway with the dish.
Yes.
Ultimately, it works really well, and I'm glad you made the suggestion, but I do disagree. I think people would still know with Ewoks and Death Star that it's Endor.
This shot is mirrored.
That shot is mirrored,
That shot is mirrored. Oh, this shot is also mirrored.
Speaking of the hunt for Ewoks, about to find our furry friends.
This is my favorite my favorite ADR in the entire episode so far.
The little conversation that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun coming up with these conversations too, because I mean we get to just sort of pick and choose whatever the heck they're talking about. It's always fun to do like 12 takes in the ADR booth.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's coming up? My little cameo. So right after the shot of the Ewok, those are my legs.
Yeah, and I was ripping the rope from off screen.
It's a little pickup.
This was also a super fun thing to set up to figure out this entire shot of the rock coming down on the Ewok. I mean, that was a big composited shot. We had a locked off camera and repeated a number of moves and then stitched it all together to get the final effect.
Because it's actually very unsafe to drop even a large foam rock on an actual actor, believe it or not.
And just to make matters more interesting, that day there was also a windstorm in the forest that had just sort of picked up as we did this. This was on the final shooting day that we could have for that shooting block, so it had to be done.
I think our stunt rigging team was up there for like 3-4 hours on the trees just getting all the truss up.
Yes, and then we were filming a different scene and they came over to us and said, hey guys, if we don't film this now, we're not gonna film it because branches are starting to come down and this is getting too dangerous.
Our art director almost got hit by a falling branch.
And that will kick your butt into high gear when you're a filmmaker. And we got the day magically, but it was definitely, you know, these guys were understanding that this is something we needed to do and get done, and they did it and made it happen, but I think there was some nervous glances as the winds picked up a little bit every now and then.
Absolutely.
And thankfully nobody got hurt. Everybody made it out alive. The stunt worked out beautifully, as you saw.
One more thing about the Ewoks. Those Ewoks were specifically built for Bucketheads. We have a couple of lovely ladies in our local garrison that are amazing Jawas, and we used them in another project that we did, Checkpoint. And when we decided that we were going to set this opening episode on Endo, we knew we needed Ewoks. So we approached them like, hey, how do you guys feel about building some Ewoks for us? And they did.
We also have some Ewok-specific Patreon rewards coming out soon.
We do.
For you patrons, so keep an eye out for that.
Patreon.com/Twin Sun Film Foundation.
Wow, you rattled that off quick.
Yeah. Ooh,
Here's beautiful.
Okay, this shot, so much backstory. It's a pickup shot. We couldn't get it on the day because of the aforementioned windstorm. This was in the middle of, I think, Burnaby Central Park on a different day. Very much in the public eye. So we were just there, I think it was one of those like jungle gym areas.
Yeah.
Sort of like a little off the beaten path, but very much still along the public path. And so many people walked by and just saw us like with a bunch of Ewoks just doing what you see here. And then our actor, Troy, in this next shot, hanging upside down from the jungle gym bars.
Entirely.
Oh my God. He was only half dressed too. It looked ridiculous.
Yeah, he was just hanging upside down by his legs, half dressed as a stormtrooper with a half dressed Ewok pushing a spear into his throat. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do those pickups.
Ewok headshot.
Ewok headshot. We had a version where that Ewok headshot looked more like a real headshot, and
it was very R-rated.
It probably wouldn't have been cool with Disney. Little crate here. We got the first real feelings of crate. Our beautifully puppeted little droid, shoulder droid, parrot droid. We say that?
I don't know what you would call that, but the BC Droid Builders Club not only conceptualized, designed, and built him, but also puppeted him on the day. They built, I think, 4 or 5 different versions. A stunt version that's just, you can toss it and it won't break. A version specifically for puppeteering, and then one that has a remote control turret in it, so the turret can actually move and you can control it from a remote. That's what remote control means. I nailed it.
Talking your way in circles. I love it. Yeah. Another beautiful shot coming up with a little bit of production design, and I think you can say we did our job correctly, or a production designer did his job correctly.
Third time's the charm, eh?
By this being seamless. This little hole through the trees here, entirely cut by us. The forest, unfortunately, did not naturally develop in this way, and that again is just a quick little piece of production design that really makes the whole thing come together.
And that moment is obviously very clearly inspired by the Battlefront 2 campaign, where that exact same thing happens. But I think we
I mean, I'd say it's inspired by the Battle of Endor.
We did it better.
You say it was inspired by Battlefront 2, sure. Oh, now we come up onto another fun moment of filming this, was all this running that had to take place. We've talked about it before, how when stormtroopers move fast, when they bend over, when they do a lot of things, you have to really make them a different suit, their own suit, because most of the limitations are, they can't do this. They can do like this. So they're running here, pretty full on, in their own suits they troop with. I remember specifically we'd gotten probably about 90% of the shots out of the way, and I really wanted one slow-mo shot front on of them running at us. And I was told, no, it's not super safe, they're tired, we should stop doing this. And sometimes you just have to put your foot down and say, I know what I want, I know what I need, we gotta get it. And we did.
Can I just quickly say, this top-down shot with the X-Wing shadows passing over top, my favorite shot of this episode.
Nailed it. I think mine's probably the oneer, but
it's a very close, almost tie for me.
I should also mention that Nomi is the only character to have eaten it. Sophie McBean. Soph McBean was playing her at that moment, and Soph unfortunately took a little tumble during the Reynolds.
Took it like a champ.
She did. She was totally fine. She laughed it off. Her boots didn't fit her.
And whose fault is that?
Probably ours. Probably ours.
Definitely. Should we talk some more about trees? I feel like we haven't said enough things about trees.
Why have we talked so much about trees? Because people seem to think that when you shoot in the forest, you don't have any production design. And that is simply not true. The ground is cleared away from debris, or debris is added to make it look like it's thicker than it needs to be.
Trees are felled.
The tree that is on the ground there on the left of frame is a felled tree by our production designer to land in the correct spot it needed to give us some more, I don't know, mise en scene, some je ne sais pas.
Oh, Varric, aka our very good friend and actor Joey Monroe.
Joey Monroe, good dude. I think he did a great job here too. I really like the makeup on his face as well. You know,
yeah,
pretty well describes where he's been and what he's been through. The thermal imploder he's holding is from the original short film. That was one of the originals created.
Fully functional, except for the explodey part.
Very heavy. Not good for throwing.
And this was the first scene we filmed of this entire episode.
This is what kicked it off.
That was before the sun came out.
I think it turned out really well.
Oh, it did.
If I do may say so myself.
Nailed it.
Do may so say.
And this here helmet, this prop, was created by none other than our very own Steve Davey.
This actually, really quickly, is also one of my favorite funny little stories. We did this shot, and it was one of the first ones we did, and we got it, we moved on, and then we were cutting the piece together, and we said, you know what, I don't know if this is good enough end imagery for this, so let's go redo just the helmet shot with the smoking coming up. And we took this exact helmet with a little light and our camera and went out to a park nearby, and we didn't think about bringing anything to smoke up the helmet. And so we're thinking, what the heck can we do? And I was smoking at the time, and I had my vape. Well, I had my vape, my electronic vape. So we would roll it, and I would take the biggest hoots that I could take, and then blow it in the helmet, and then put it down really quick, and then we'd let it roll until the smoke dissipated. And we did that so many times, we killed the pod in my vape. It was entirely out of juice. I got way too high on nicotine. That's never fun. It was, and then we didn't even use it. This is the original one that we shot. This is the original
shot with real Hesse smoke.
That was a fun experience.
You just gotta try some things.
And then a sweet little teaser for the next piece that we'll be releasing in the new year.
Yes, the section we filmed in February of 2021.
Yeah.
And we are about to film the final scene of this chapter in February of 2022.
That's it, that's all. Oh, and actually, I guess as a final, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
I can't help you here.
Into the cold week. No, we kept the same song. Never mind. I was gonna say this final thing. That's Buffalo Jones back, but
Buffalo Jones, now known as Teller and the Tale, he composed a new song for the opening credit sequence.
Yes. I was thinking the end, but then I was like, wait a minute, that's
one
the
of
same song.
Greatest random finds that was just fueled by falsely placed confidence.
and it shone through. It shone through. Anyways, that is it for this very merry director's commentary.
You said it again.
Thank you. Director's commentary for Bucketheads, Season 1, Episode 1, Chapter 1.
Still workshopping the title.
Very much workshopping the title. That's it for us. Thanks for joining us in the seedy underbellies of Coruscant. We got a lot of great stuff coming to you guys in the new year. I'm Andy Brown.
And I'm Marco Bassa.
And that was a way better sign-off. We're going to use that one. Bye-bye.
That's all, folks. Ruined it!
I got the GBs! Oh, okay, that's it, I think. Cut.
Did we get it?
Did you get it?
Into the coals we go.